Hey guys, this is Karalynn Cromings, and welcome back to the Quit Getting Screwed podcast, where we talk about all the ways not to get screwed in the construction industry and how to run a better business. And I'm very excited for today's guest, who's like on the same mission I am, helping contractors live a better, more fuller, not get screwed life. Christian Scott. Hey Christian, how are you?
Pretty good. Thank you guys so much for letting me come on your podcast.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Before we get into your very famous Facebook group, tell me a little bit about, you work in the construction industry, you own a company. Tell me about like your history in the construction industry.
So about 7 years ago, I came to Houston from Dallas. I graduated high school and everything. I had kind of a rough time up there. You know, I didn't make the best decisions, but I decided to move down here to Houston. And so I took the bus here, the Greyhound, and I walked off. You know, I stepped off downtown Houston, and I didn't have anything. My grandparents helped me pay my first month's rent. So the very next day, I got a job at IHOP, the graveyard shift off of Washington Street.
Damn.
And I worked that for a while. And then I eventually got a job at the Buffalo Wild Wings downtown on Gray Street, lunchtime shift. That kind of sucked, but
it's better than graveyard shift on Washington.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was. But I lived in Fifth Ward at that time, and you know, I was working hard, and you know, Sundays I would get off after the night shift there, and I would have to walk to Fifth Ward through downtown because the buses and everything were shut down. So you know, I've spent a lot of time in the streets in Houston, and it's a huge experience, and it definitely helps you grow a love for this city. Because when I first moved here, I did not like it.
Yeah.
This city is very difficult, but it is full of opportunities. So I worked in Buffalo Wild Wings for a while, and then I went and worked in the oil field in LaPorte, in one of the shops there.
Uh-huh.
So that was like, you know, that was a huge difference. That was way more physically demanding, and that was fine and everything, and I loved it. But I worked there until like 2 weeks before my year anniversary, and I got laid off.
Okay.
And the day that I got laid off, this was like 1 or 2 weeks before Hurricane Harvey.
Okay. 2017, right?
Yeah. So then I got laid off, and I got home, and my wife's water broke that morning. So like I got laid off, and I was like, you know, whatever. So I'm going home, you know, try not to let it ruin my day. And then I get home, and she's like, let's go.
Is it your first baby?
Yeah, that was the first.
Oh my goodness.
So it was really interesting. I called my my mentor for my construction stuff. Him and I are really good friends. He's my children's godfather and everything. So he's been in construction since he was 3 years old, and kind of like my kids now. So, but he is a mastermind. Like he anything construction, building, you know, devising new designs and plans. Like it's a whole different breed of a human that's able to do that kind of stuff. So I called him up once I got laid off, because we had already been kind of talking about doing construction full time, and we had already started like trying to learn how to be an investor. We were going to all kinds of different seminars and stuff. So that's where my journey had always started, because of passive income. Mm-hmm. And he really helped push that stuff through and keep us motivated and moving forward every single day. So anyways, my son Theodore was born, and we had landed our first job, and then Hurricane Harvey hit. Okay. So I sent Sarah and Theodore up to Dallas with my grandparents, and my mentor Casey and we stayed in Houston. We had got a make ready job in Fifth Ward, just painting, you know, getting it ready for rent. And we stayed at that house, day and night through the whole hurricane and worked on it.
Mm-hmm.
And afterwards, I lived out in Liverpool, out by Alvin,
Okay.
in the south area.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a complete lake out there. And it was just, basically it was the ocean
Mm-hmm.
out there. It was wild. But we lived in a mobile home back then, and it was ruined. So I was able to talk to our customer, and I was able to rent that house
That you just fixed.
that we just fixed up. So I was able to, that was an immediate upgrade of,
Mm-hmm.
of our family and some of the hard work that we had been putting in. And long story short, I actually eventually ended up buying that house, and we built 2 apartments in the back and everything. So that thing's been, it's a real key part to our retirement plan right there.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
yeah, but that's kind of how we got into it. Whenever we first started, I was learning to be an investor first.
Okay.
And then the construction stuff came behind it because, and that has really helped me now with everything that we're doing, is because I'm an investor minded person first, and then I'm the contractor, because I just don't see how you can be the contractor and not know what your customers want or what they need, or so and it really helps with new customers as well, because I can help walk them through the process from the acquisition of a property, wholesaling or off market, to all the way to getting a realtor to sell the house and them getting their return. So I've been able to put all those pieces together, and during that time, I've learned how to wholesale off market properties. I've done a handful of those, not nearly as much as I want, but the knowledge of those few deals has really helped be able to put new ideas in place. And but yeah, that's kind of where we've gone. That's kind of the beginning story.
Gotcha. How's business now? How are you guys doing?
It's doing good. Actually, I'm in business on my own now. We had done quite a few personal flips and investments together, and near the last couple deals, we started seeing how it would be more beneficial for each person, because we ended up having 3 people. One was a funding investor, and then me and Casey would really push those projects through at a minimum budget, because we would do everything ourselves. So I'm talking about paint, tile, like roofing,
Everything,
framing, like everything, tying rebar. I've done every single part with my own hands, and I don't like doing that. but
you need
that has. Yes, exactly. And that has really, really pushed my knowledge and confidence forward to be able to manage, which is what I really love. I love managing, but it is so difficult. But
I think you came into management at a time we've never seen before, right? Because there are way more jobs than there are workers. And before COVID, you could be an okay manager, maybe even a shitty manager, but people needed their jobs, and so they put up with it.
Yeah.
That is no more. In my industry, in your industry, it doesn't matter. If they can find something better, they are gone. And I guess to learn to be a boss in that kind of environment will truly bring out the best in you.
Yeah. And it'll really humble you as well.
Absolutely.
We have, it's hard. We've been on our knees, and I've just gone to the point where in the beginning, it may not necessarily be this way now, but in the beginning it was, I'll go bankrupt to make this work because I got nothing to lose. And now that I'm starting to be more successful and have and grow more things, I have to adapt that mindset. Yeah. But I'm still young enough that I know that I can take some risks, and if they don't work, I have some time to recoup. But it's exciting and it's very difficult, and people are the hardest thing to manage, hands down. And but it's good. But it's good.
But then you learn how to do it all on your own, because that's the thing, is if you had to, you could, right?
Yeah. And Yeah, it's been a wild experience.
I know. Learn, and as long as you're learning, it's not failing. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a long journey. All right. So tell me about, you have a huge Facebook following, the Contractor Network Houston. Tell me why you started that. What were your thoughts behind it?
So I first started that page. I didn't write notes on this one because I figured I needed to kind of wing it on this question, because it was kind of a spur of the moment. I remember I was driving through Houston. Normally, I'm for some reason the most creative when I'm driving, like to the job site in the morning or home at night. And so I like to say, like, before this page, let's just say before this page in Houston, I mean, the ways to find different connections, you had your seminars and stuff like that, but there's not anything construction wise out there that is really taking a hold. Mm-hmm. And so, like, you'd be sourced to relying on word of mouth for, like, getting a new contractor or getting somebody reliable, or driving the streets looking for active projects to go talk to people. And so that kind of stuff's very difficult, and it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of trust. And so I created the page for our own company at first, and I wanted to be able to grow my network, grow my contacts. If I needed to find a stucco guy, I could find, I could choose between some, and I had that all locked up privately. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember what it was, but one day it was just like, I'm going to let this be public, because the idea was growing and it was working, and I was just like, screw it. I'm going to let everybody use it. And once I took that step back, mm-hmm. and kind of took more of a, I don't know, but once I took that step, it blew up. Gotcha. And a lot of people are on there now, and
things like close to 50,000 people are on there.
Yeah, 47. So it's been a process to manage that.
Yeah.
I've been able to put together a good team of people to help me, especially with our networking events and stuff like that. And it's been a really positive experience, but it even that has been difficult, because firsthand. It can be a full-time job. Yes. And firsthand how crazy that this industry can be, with the people and all of the drama that mm-hmm. happens in all of these projects. So.
Absolutely. So do you have a long-term goal for this, or you just hope it's like a great networking place, or you're trying to take it somewhere?
So I've been putting together a long-term goal. This page is kind of like self-sufficient now. I like to think of it currently as like a search engine, mm-hmm. On Facebook. So right now, if you go on there and you type in anything about your project or anything, it'll pop up every single post that was posted on that page for the last 3 years, uh-huh. relating to that keyword. And, we're talking about hundreds of contractors, promotions, mm-hmm. questions, referrals, like all kinds of different, aspects is on that page. So that page, we've been able to put an employee managing that page. Okay. They manage all of the intake of new members, sorting through who's real, who's fake. Mm-hmm. We do have a certain application, not necessarily application, but an approval process. Yep. And I have that member approving every single post that's posted on that page.
Gotcha.
Because right now we are prioritizing like jobs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then all self-promotions are scheduled for 2 days of the week. Gotcha. So then we started our networking events.
Yep. Which is when it's like once a month, isn't it?
Yes. We're still scheduling all that kind of stuff. We're trying to move to a more central Houston location.
Gotcha.
Right now we're in Spring, so that is hard for, I live in Rosenberg, so it's an hour drive. And
Oh, damn. Yeah.
yeah. And, and the people that go there are taking time away from themselves and their families. So I want to, help centralize that more so that more people can attend. But my future goals for this is I want to be able to. Oh, sorry. I want to be able to provide education.
Okay.
At my events. I want to be able to. I had good notes on here. So for my for the contractor page, we're looking for our venue, and then that will give an easier commute. My goal is to partner with other heads of different networks and influence in the Houston area. My main goal is to keep everything homegrown in this city. So like if I was to do this in another city, it would be the same.
Gotcha.
I don't, if I have a lender that's from, New York, I don't want them marketing in our page because we have lenders here that I want to put up there and that I want to get business and stuff like that. So, I want to be able to offer education of specific topics like law, insurance, lending, scheduling, rehab estimating, running comps on properties, and all that kind of stuff. I want to be able to give contractors the ways to grow themselves to be more than just a contractor.
Gotcha.
Because I think the value of this skill set, higher up, like as an investor or even, becoming from a sub to a GC, I think the opportunities are there for those people, and but they just may not be educated on those type of situations. Same with, stuff like with law and contracts, and, we see that every day on the page and every day here in Houston. I think that the ability to grow for people is there, and I just want to be able to offer tools and opportunities from the community within itself. Because if I can walk off the bus and in 7 years grow something like this, then people that have been doing this for 20 years, they can grow more than they probably ever imagined. So
no, absolutely. And so like somebody who's in the construction industry and wants to look at getting to that investor piece, like where do they start? Like what's the first step?
So my first step was I started just going, well, obviously we have TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube to type in any question that you have, and there'll thousands and millions of videos of how to do it. But I think, if you're wanting to start and you're really serious, then there's two things. One, I think you should disappear for 6 months and you should focus on yourself and study and discipline yourself. And because there's going to be times where you want to give up and you can't. If I gave up right now, then everything that I've done the past 7 years is wasted. So, and so the thing leading from that, if I were to suggest, it would be to just go to seminars. There are a ton of seminars about real estate in Houston every single week, like literally every week. I'm sure that it's possible to almost find one every day. But I would suggest that you start going to those seminars until they all tell you to do the same thing. Because eventually they're all going to tell you to do the same thing and just maybe different ways or different ways of presenting it. And so the only way from then on is to do it. So that's what I would suggest. And when you're doing in-person events, that's really showing to yourself and to other people that you are really serious about this, because, you're taking your time, not just an hour on social media scrolling. You're taking your time to, present yourself nice and go talk to other people who are doing the exact same thing at these events. And that grows your network. Imagine going to these events once a week, every week for 6 months, and you go into these real estate events as a contractor, and you're meeting investors who are your customers, and you're meeting lenders who do a huge amount of work and have a huge amount of influence with their customers, and all of these, all the other pieces to the puzzles of real estate. And that's what I would suggest.
Well, and I think you're a great story of how you don't have to have a whole lot of experience. You can go in and figure it out. And now, if you are in construction, know anything about it, or are willing to learn, you can make money, especially in this time. Right now.
Yeah, there's so many different ways to make money with construction or, real estate or anything, and I think that the fact that construction men and women are in the field, on the streets daily, that is something that investors aren't necessarily. So whenever you're making your steps to grow as a person, career wise, or however you would put it, that knowledge of the streets and different neighborhoods and where things are building or appreciating and where it's not yet, that is huge. That's huge to be able to add that knowledge to the other pieces like wholesaling or investing to that puzzle. So,
gotcha. So, do you have a lot of passive income now that you own properties?
I'm working on it. We finished this first house, and we've built up some capital to get into a flip. Only like with one other partner, or only by ourselves.
Gotcha.
That way, we can get more of the profits and be able to reinvest more. I have a pretty simple starting out goal, which is just to do one flip and then take that money and do 2 or 3.
Gotcha.
I'm fine how we are now. We've been able to structure our passive income, and Sarah works, so we're really able to start focusing on our future goals for our family. And
you guys are doing a great job to start this young, man.
Thank you. And
with the kids and the whole planning for the future thing.
Yeah. Well, it's a family commitment, and the boys are starting really young in it. My 5-year-old, he knows how to do plumbing and stuff like that. Like, they beg to go to the job site all the time, but I can't take them to all of them.
Yeah.
We normally bring them on our personal ones to like help work and stuff.
Gotcha.
And then anything that I do for a customer, I'm normally managing. So gotcha. I do all of this with 2 kids in the back of the truck every day. So daycare is just ridiculous. So I can't justify it in my head or in my budget to pay for that and to let somebody else raise my kids. I would rather. It is difficult, but we're making it work. I'm not trying to become a millionaire tomorrow, but I'm gonna get there.
But building wealth from your family, coming from a bus ticket from Dallas, is pretty freaking. Living in 5th Ward in the Washington IHOP, that's a lot. All of that has played into it,
Yeah, it hasn't been easy, but it's. We're finally the house that we bought in 5th Ward. We'll have our first tenant in the main house because we have 2 apartments that have been rented out for a while. So we put a lot of our money into rehabbing that house from some of my construction projects. Mm-hmm. And so once we get our first tenant in there, we're going to be able to open up a whole new chapter, and we're really excited.
That's awesome. So you're going to have these events. Are you going to keep it the 3rd Thursday of every month?
We'll possibly. It's just going to depend on vendors' schedules, what works for them. So like with Rowdy's, they give us a good deal to help us. They're really helping us get started.
Gotcha.
The owners of those companies of that company, they all have construction companies as well.
Awesome.
So they have been really supportive. I couldn't be more thankful to help to let us troubleshoot and get this started. But there's definitely plans for growth. I set high goals, and one of my goals is we want to throw one of those homeowner events at the Bayou at the George Brown Convention Center. And I think, the thing about what I think is if these other companies can do it from outside of Texas, then we can do it from in our own backyard. Like we have the ability to do it. Absolutely. It just comes down to how can we communicate to everybody? Because it's very difficult on Facebook. Facebook doesn't let us talk to everybody, even in our group. I put the everyone tag. It doesn't let me talk to everybody.
No. Yeah, absolutely not. So, I don't let you have that much control, right? So I think it's a great starting place. I think we'll work other ways in there to build this huge network, and so everybody can network and hopefully, reach their goals, whether that's having a better construction company, finding better people, or moving into that investor piece. Definitely.
There's so many different options for some. It just depends on what they want and what they feel called to do and what they love to do. Because you sure gotta love it.
Yeah, absolutely. So people wanted to know more. The Facebook group is the Contractor Network Houston.
Yep.
Okay. And again, they got to sign up and you approve them.
Yeah. It normally happens the same day. The approval. My people are pretty good about that. I try to keep everything going smooth because I know that time is a big factor. If somebody's thinking about posting it on the page, looking for painters, then they probably need it really quick. So.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you being on the show, and I'm going to push everybody to your Facebook page. It'll be in the show notes, and I look forward to being at your events in the future and working together to help make contractors' lives better. Thank you so much,
ma'am.
Christian.